To another episode of Big Brand MMA Podcast. I'm your host, BigSteve. Episode 55, UFC Fight Night 70. Easy to remember, right after UFC 69. Nikita Krylov, V Spann, decent card. Slightly better, higher level than last week, which, not saying much, but the beginning of a very busy week. Hopefully we end February with a bang. Still in profit, but not as much as I would like to be. January was much better. But yeah, KSW, UFC, Bellator, PFL, one way or another, I'll be looking down to break down every single card, whether it's on this podcast or another podcast. So yeah, excited to get into it. Herb Dean is the gold standard. Nice and early. That's it, mate. Like I said, had to clear the schedule to do a lot of tape. So I thought UFC will get the UFC done nice and early because I pretty much taped everything. Let's do a quick overview of last week's card. So $640 profit. It's something. It is what it is. Started off with Carpenter, submission decision, double chance. It was plus money. Wasn't going to play it initially, as I said to Chad. But yeah, the more I thought about it, I thought submission was the most likely, along with decision. The way Ronderos grapples a lot and gets his back taken for majority of the fights. Five rounds almost against Shelton. I thought Carpenter's probably going to finish that, and even if he hurt him, he's most likely going to be club and sub. So happy that hit. AJ Fletcher stuck to my guns, just played 2K on him, $1.40 to win 800. Some sweaty moments, but he was never going to lose that. Garimbo was a fake black belt, and the physicality difference was massive. Started the day off good at 1,350. Then we had the Elder fight. Nazim Sajikov starts round 3. A little bit sweaty. They were brawling, but yeah, just most of their finishes against low-level guys on the regionals both have great chins. A lot of people got burned on the under 2.5 there. The over 2.5. Very happy with that. I saw a lot of the Nazim's best round is in round 3, so I avoided that. So yeah, 3 for 3 there. So I was up 1,000. Almost 2,050, but then I lost a quarter unit on Elder live. And midway through round 1, after he dropped Nazim, I just thought Nazim is super hittable. This is going to be a close fight. It was almost paying $4, right? It was like $250 to win 800. So when I found out, the Elder was up 2-0 on every single judge's scorecards, a little bit salty about that, but that's fine. At least I was still up. William Knight, no scorecards, right? Obviously, I played that just because I thought if he goes to decision, more than likely, old mate Prachnio is gonna win just with his volume. Maybe I should have played a little bit of Prachnio decision. I just didn't want too much on that fight. The whole fight was a crap show, and that performance, all you can do is laugh. Really, I was just relieved that I didn't lose any money. Obviously, I got my money back on the no scorecard. Ended up putting a little bit Jordan Wright last minute. I wrote that on Twitter. I thought he was the bigger, more physical guy. I thought Poga is a decision machine. There wasn't going to be someone to finish Wright. Wright was going to be better on the outside with his kicks while Josh was trying to jab. Didn't really see 3 rounds of cage push going on. I honestly thought if he was going to clinch, I thought Wright was going to have the advantage in the clinch with the elbows, like against Jamie Pickett. And he has a really good Muay Thai clinch, which you couldn't really get off. So yeah, no regret there. I mean, I regret passing on the overs, though. I just felt like if I hit the over, there was a chance that Wright's round 1 possibility of winning was going to eat some of my profit. So yeah, I lost the $300 there. So we're down to like 1,500. And checked the $100 on Parisian live after round 1. I was paying like $4. I thought it could have been 2-2, and Pogues was slowing down. But yeah, just did what he had to do to win that decision. And then I had $1,000 on Blanchfield, that horrible CLV, which originally I would have passed. Like I said on Twitter, when I mess up my CLV, I absolutely hate it. So after taping that fight, the whole week I was like, I'm not really comfortable in this fight. There's injury news, and everyone on Twitter is on Blanchfield, and some people I respect is on Blanchfield. The line's moving like crazy. What I learned this year is just not to have bets on that fight, like Derek Lewis and stuff. So I was going to cash out, but then, I was trolling on Twitter, and I just, I'll keep it just because I've ran my mouth for fun. Might as well have one unit on it. And then I put $1,000 on fight not to go to decision, as I thought either a KO or submission is going to happen. Blanchfield on top is a savage. So lost the 1,000 on Andrade, won the 450 on the fight doesn't go, which lost me 500, which was a little bit annoying because straight away, as soon as the fight started and Blanchfield was brawling and taking Andrade's shots, I was like, yeah, this is going to gas Andrade out. Blanchfield came with a beautiful game plan, and it just answered some of my questions about the chin. And I would have lied better, like I said, but just because I had the money on Andrade and she was kind of rocking her in round 2. So that kind of clouded my vision. So I'm glad that week's over. Like I said, $640 after being $2,000 up. Yeah, it's a little bit crap, considering I was sweeping up until Jordan Wright and Andrade, and that was just a bad CLV forced bet. But yeah, props to anyone hitting Blanchfield. You saw something that I didn't. I would have just passed and live bet it. But yeah, profit is profit. Profit for February. We move on. We'll make up for it. We'll make up for it with a lot of cards this week. Let's address some of the comments. GRBRCK, hey, hello. Tristan Shorehouse, bro, that opening line on Deca was money. Thank you, mate. That was one of my confident bets on PFL. There hasn't been many. Hit that for 800 profit, 1,000. 30.27, no sweat whatsoever. GRBR again, LMAO, William Night Fight was a shit show. It sure is, mate. They come once every 100 years, mate. All you can do is laugh. AU Thor, how are you, mate? KSW, UFC, Belly, that's it. Don't forget PFL. And please tell why I shouldn't bet more on fight doesn't go on a Malott fight. All right. We'll get to it, mate. We'll get to it. All right. Try to keep this one nice and quick. Got a lot of tape to get back to. All right. Jose Johnson, Garrett Armfield. Good fight. Surprisingly, the first fight on the card. Armfield is a solid boxer, pressure grappler. He's a gritty dude. Seems to be quite durable. Hasn't fought nobody really. I guess I can see why he's the favorite. Jose Johnson can be taken down. He's improving his grappling, but he still hasn't addressed it. He's been taken down a billion times by Lawrence in Contender Series. That was one of my favorite underdog bets a couple of years ago. Cartwright on Contender Series in his most recent one, again, taking him down with ease. But yeah, that's part of his game. He's tall, long. Mo Miller took him down, but he's good at scrambling. He gets up. He's working on his jiu-jitsu. Both these guys are young. He's got the one-punch KO power, beautiful elbows and knees. And his level of competition is insane. Like, he's fought so many people that are, at one point had UFC prospect potential or are in the UFC currently. So, Pipe Vargas, the guy that knocked out Said Kakramanov, that's not in the UFC anymore, knocked him out with a flying knee. Jose Johnson knocked him out with one punch, knees and elbows. Right, knocked out Rafael Costa with one elbow to the side of the head, who's a really high-level Brazilian guy. Fought Ronnie Lawrence in the UFC, fought Martinez in the UFC. Right, got sparked there, which I do have some durability concerns about Jose Johnson. Mo Miller, 6-0 at the time, was on Contender Series twice. Triangle choked him from the guard. And Jack Cartwright, who was a Cage Warriors 10-0 undefeated champion. So tons of them. If you go back, he's fighting Levi Moles. Everyone, this guy's fought everyone. Yes, you can take him down. But yeah, Garrett Armfield is a bit of a grinder. I don't think he's going to submit Jose. If anything, Jose is going to maybe reverse him, get more damage off. But yeah, I locked in the early line on Jose just because I feel like if this does go to decision, it could be a scramble heavy fight. And when it's on the feet, Jose, is going to have the length and the reach. But then again, Garrett has decent boxing too. He's fought nobody. He's on the Shamrock circuit. So it's tough to tell. But I feel like maybe this could be potentially a pick'em. What do you value more, Armfield's takedowns or Johnson's damage? He dishes a lot of damage with the ground and pound. So yeah, it's a dog or pass for me. I do have a little Johnson. I'll have to confirm it later on for final bets. Tune in for the final bets. I'm going to try to put the final bets out early and do like a big edition of 4 events final bets, so finalize everything. So hopefully I can make it. It's a crazy schedule, but yeah, let's move on. Hailey, Cowan, Ailin, Perez. I got the early line on Perez here again at $2.30. I didn't think I would like her before tape. She's, just a bit of a can crusher, fighting nobodies, just looking to grapple. But I also tried fade Cowan. Cowan's horrible too. She's I tried fade her on Contender Series. I had a bit of tipitation there against that girl. I got like slight dog money. I was like, it's probably pick him. How much value am I getting here? But I let it ride, and in the end, came down to Hailey held her up against the cage a bit, cut her open. Easy round for the judges. Round 2, when she got taken down, she got dominated on the ground. And then round 3, she got a takedown with a whizzer, just over half a round on top, and then got reversed, and then just spent the rest of the round on bottom and got her back taken and a locked-in rear naked choke just as the bell went. So it's like really slim margins in the fight. Who do you give it to? The dog shot was the shot, but it's just like, it's a close fight. You're going to lose them sometimes. And yeah, she's quite overrated. She's had a lot of hype in her career in forever. The Brittany Cloudy fight in Invicta, she lost that. She got a split decision. She's getting taken down there. She got cracked there. She got rear naked choked by Victoria Leonardo. Horrible look. Kelly Clayton, who is now 2-0. She's like a 39-year-old soccer mom. Hurt her and then guillotine choked her. The commentators were saying there's that submission game. I went through Kelly Clayton's record. She's got like no submissions. It's like the only submission she has. She's got like ground and pound and decisions and losses. So I was like, okay, I'm expecting some guard savant. And then she submitted Monica Franco, who's tiny in Invicta, 2-0, a tiny girl, and then went to that split, in Contender. So she's physical. She's a cage push merchant. That's what I wrote here. She just wants to spend 50 minutes against the cage. She's decent on top, but her wrestling sucks to get her on top. A lot of similarities. Perez is similar. I just think Perez is a lot more gritty. She's actually she lost to Vidal, who's currently in the UFC. She beat Ramona Pascal, and Vidal has a similar style. And she was throwing Vidal around in the Samurai regional scene, but she lost to 2 or 3 cunt shots in a row. Got disqualified, which is unfortunate. But she was throwing her around, so that's probably the best opponent, or one of the best opponents on either one's record. And then in against Ega, Stephanie Ega, at featherweight, they both moved up for that fight. I think Ega's quite a big girl. She doesn't look small at featherweight, whereas Ailin probably has a little bit too much fat on her. Not fat shaming or anything. She was scrappy. She kept getting judo throwed, which I guess could happen here, but she was scrappy. She wrestled up. She was lighting up Ega. I think she's going to have the better striking, the better wrestling for sure. I think the finishing upside in terms of submission is on Cowan's side. I didn't like how Perez kind of gave up that neck and tapped early. Ega's more of a armbar from guard kind of fighter. The way she locked in that rear naked choke and Perez kind of tapped her when there was 6 seconds to go kind of makes me a little bit scared. I capped this at pick'em. Maybe Perez slight favorite due to the wrestling, the grittiness, the speed. She just seems like she's going to fight for your money more, right? Cowan is a fade, right? If she can get on top, she'll probably get some top time. But dog a pass for me, and I got that early line. I got half a unit on Perez at $2.30. I think that's plus 130. And I didn't want to add more until I taped, and then the line moved, and I'm just happy leaving it. If I cap it, I pick him. There's not much value there. So, dog a pass for me there too. Move on to the next. Nurullo, Aliev, Rafael, Alves. This is a tough one. Aliev could be for real. It seems very physical. Has good wrestling. Seems strong. Just quite one-dimensional. Just wants to take you down, ground and pound you. Mostly sits in guard. Not much damage. Not much submission offense. Doesn't strike much. In some of the fights that he's had, he slowed down. He almost got caught in a triangle in another fight. The level of competition is low. The people that he's fighting, they seem decent, but then you look into it, they've lost 3 or 4 times after that. It's AMC Fight Night and EFC, not the best European regional promotions. And he's just, he's young. He could be improving. He's just doing what he needs to do, but the fights are quite boring. I'll be honest. He's just not my cup of tea. I'm kind of sick of these dudes that look like Khabib and Makhachev and just do the same thing, and just fights are super dry to watch personally. And yeah, massive step up in competition against someone like Rafael Alves, ex-Titan champ. Like I didn't want to go too far into this fight, but I got roped into it. And even on his regional scene, he's fighting fighters way better than Aliev. Felipe Douglas is now like 20 and 5. He knocked him out with one punch. Flores, quite good on the Contender Series, guillotined him. Bebe Nazarov, I watched him just because he was a Kazakhstani wrestler, and he did get taken down, but in the end, he guillotine choked him. Damirez Magulov, like Dear Casey, Drew Dober, like these are potentially, once upon a time, they were ranked and just outside the ranking lightweights, and even Dear Casey. So I just think he's dangerous here. He can hurt you. He can knock you out. He can submit you. And yeah, there's a risk that Aliev just gets on top and Alves can't stand up and he can't get the guillotine and he just kind of flakes. But it's a show me spot for this kid. He can even get robbed. Judges don't care about web blanketing anymore. Alves almost won a decision against Damir. He blitzed him and he hurt him in the first round and then didn't get up for the whole round in round 1, which is red flag. And then he got up in the second round, and in round 3, he stuffed all the takedowns, and he won clearly. So if he maybe got up in the first round, showed some urgency, and did okay on the feet, the judges would have remembered the knockdown, and he would have won a 29-28. So he can win a decision. It's just there's a whole lot of nothing, waiting for big moments, backing up, and waiting for his big moments. If he's backing up, and then gets taken down, and then doesn't get up for 3 minutes, it's going to look. Aliev's going to look like a decent favorite if he doesn't gas out. But the only thing is, if he does look like a decent favorite, I cap him at that right now. I cap him at 65%. But that's if. I've got questions. I want to see him. He's been, even the guy on Contender Series is an absolute bum. So yeah, I see some comments. Aliev is a young can crusher against an explosive Alves who's unreliable, managed to go the distance with his Magul. I just mentioned that. Aliev decision or Alves inside the distance. Not sure which one to hit. UFC betting experience. Welcome, mate. That's essentially the same way I lean. Maybe Aliev round 3 or decision in case Alves flakes by round 3, starts to get a bit gassy. Or maybe some overs. Or maybe Aliev Alves no scorecards. Right? Could be a little bit of a sweat, but yeah, he doesn't get out of guard. So yeah. At the moment, it's a pass fight for me. Joe Solecki, Carl Deaton. All right, I actually didn't realize that I didn't even tape this fight. I know there was a couple of fights I didn't tape, and I was going to acknowledge him, but I just completely forgot about this one. All right. Yeah, I didn't tape this one. Joe Solecki, definitely not playable at this line. Carl Deaton's a decent striker. He hasn't been submitted much from memory. Let me just double check. Yeah, not much. He's fought who's who. Went to split decision with Flores. I just mentioned. Beat Justin James. Jonas Flock. Yeah, he's oh, look at that. He fought Jonas Flock on Big John's MMA. I didn't realize Big John had a promotion. Nathan Williams twice. Jose Mariscal in the 5 round. Yeah, this guy's fought a who's who, right? If he's got good submission defense, which I'll look into it. Yeah, then man. Solecki's a fade. I've faded Solecki multiple times. He's gassy. He's a bit of a front runner. He might be a bit chinny too. So yeah, I'll retape it for the final bets and I'll see if kind of like the unders. And yeah, you can't bet Solecki at this line. So let's move on. Dog or pass and maybe some unders. If Deaton shows some red flags, giving up his back or something. And yeah, a live bet will be good here. Very good. If he survives the onslaught in round 1, Solecki usually has a good round 1. You can live bet Deaton. Alrighty, next fight. Ode Osbourne, Charles Johnson. Interesting one. Johnson coming in on short notice once again. Good fighter, well-rounded. Played him by KO against Flick. A little bit annoyed. I only played 2-3. That tilted me. Yeah, that does everything well. Exceptional submission defense. Great cardio, great output. It just starts a little bit slow. Does he switches stances, likes to kind of kick and poke at you with straight punches. Can be a little bit hittable. It can be taken down, but, great get-ups. Never stops working his way up. On the other side, Osbourne, insane athletic capabilities. Very fast, massive reach, massive size for a flyweight. Fought a featherweight before. Very hard to deal with early. He's usually lighting up everyone. CJ Vergara knocked out Adeshev, knocked out Jerome Rivera with one punch. He was giving Manuel Cup a fight right before he had a flying knee. He was faster than Cup, which is saying something. Early he's very hard to deal with, which is why I can't heal Johnson here at almost the minus 200 price line. I just feel like Oda's going to be winning at the start. Johnson might work his way into the fight, but even then, it might be close. Round 2, round 3. CJ Vergara, for example, is very aggressive. He's got big knees to the body, big liver shots, big body kicks, and he was hitting Ode, and Ode kind of slowed down, and he still won at 29-28. He was mixing in wrestling. You can potentially mix in wrestling to keep Johnson off him here. He's not on short notice. And that fight with Zalga Zalmagulov, tiny guy, and Zalmagulov kept finding the target. He was hitting Johnson clean with punches. My man Zalga's got robbed there. Got hit in the nuts 3 times. Got robbed. Didn't get a point. And the guy had to retire. It's just sad, very sad. But that was a fight that Johnson should have lost against a smaller guy in Zalgas, and it was essentially a 3-round boxing fight. Now he's fighting Ode with much bigger reach, much bigger, better speed, much more technical, great counter. Ode's also kind of hittable. He has his hands low. But I think this is a close fight for at least 1 or 2 rounds, and potentially Ode can win at 29-28 like against CJ. Maybe you can even drop Johnson. I just don't trust Johnson. He is trustworthy to turn that on late. But I would rather just live bet him after he has a slow round 1. See how Ode's cardio goes, or how dominant round 1 was. And just go from there. If anything, the overs might be good here. The over 1.5. I still don't have it open, which is quite annoying because last week Ned's, one of the other bookies, not my main one, opened up the unders straight away, and that was the week that I was taking a break from gambling for the first couple of days, do some other business work. And then this week, I started taping on Sunday just to get some under 1.5s, and nothing. There's nothing. So I'll rather play the over. Hopefully, I kept the over at 60%. Hopefully, it's something good, over 1.5, and then look to live bet Johnson. But I'm not against taking a small stab on Ode pre-fight. He could weasel out at 29-28 here. Pepe Silva in the comments. Of course, he has hammered the over 1.5, so the line's probably going to be crap by the time I get it, like usual. Herb Dean, the gold standard, under 2.5 is a pick'em on my bookie for Ode Johnson. I'll probably hit the over, man. If anything, I would also play Johnson round 3 decision. If you want to play Johnson, it's probably going to be plus money. I'm looking at a couple of combinations there. Over 1.5. Johnson rounds 3 or decision, and Ode as underdog. Right, I'm not against that too. Alrighty. Ooh, I almost just went back on the stream tab. That hasn't happened in a while. Alrighty, Jordan Leavitt versus Victor Martinez. This is an interesting fight. So, I know people on both sides here. The line is kind of flip-flopping. Initially, I like Martinez at dog odds. Just a pressure fighter, throws in combinations, boxer, calf kicks, jabs, constantly throwing good volume on the feet, and has quite decent power as well. A lot of knockouts on his record. Nurullo, who's a very durable guy, knocked him out. Just a bunch of people. I don't want to go through the whole record now, but he's knocked out a lot of people on the regional scene that haven't been knocked out before. Just beat Jacob Gonzalez, who was on the Contender Series twice. Got dropped there in the first round, and then rounds 2 and 3 just had the slightly better output and just out hustled him, outworked him. He's supposedly a black belt, which I wasn't aware of. Every single time he gets taken down, he gives his back up, and that's the first thing I noticed in some of these older tape, which is like, that's a bit of a red flag against Jordan Leavitt, who I feel will get a takedown early. A lot of people crapping on his wrestling, but Jordan Leavitt has very good penetration. He has a very good single leg. And I don't think Martinez has good takedowns per se. So I think he will give up a takedown here. And even in the Gonzalez fight, which is his most recent fight, straight away, tripods, gives up the back. A good fight to suss out is Nico Echeverry, 2019. That guy's decent. He fought Romero, that just got a contract on PFL, and hurt Romero, had some good grappling success there. Nico Echeverry took him down 2-3 times and had his back 2-3 times and ended the round one with a deep rear naked choke. So it's, I get it. Maybe because he's a black belt, he's comfortable defending the choke, and he would rather get up than stay on bottom and stay safe, which is good. But yeah, at some point, someone high level is going to choke him out. Right? We see it constantly. It just gave me, I was going to play him, and it just gave me Andrade flashbacks. She always tripods, and tried it again against Aaron, and just instant rear naked choke, which I didn't think would happen. But guess the boob was out, so there's that. But yeah. Then I went refresh my memory with Leavitt, and Leavitt, he can be a bit gassy, and he can't always get the subs. Went into round 2 against Matt Sales, and Sales defended enough, and it's like, if Martinez can defend here, he can look like a big favorite. Rounds 2 and 3, Leavitt's going to slow it down. Martinez is not going to cuck like someone like Trey Ogden and allow Leavitt to leg kick him to a decision loss, right? Like Martinez is going to leg kick himself, and he's constantly throwing volume jabs and combinations. So on the feet, he should light up Leavitt. He should move away in rounds 2 and 3, distance himself, probably get a KO as well, or bust him up at the very worst. But I just can't play it pre-tape. Leavitt, he's going to shoot early. He's going to shoot a lot. He's going to get takedowns on Martinez. Martinez has no social media presence. Went on his Facebook, went on his Instagram, nothing in 2-3 years. They were going to fight already, and Martinez pulled out with an injury, I guess. Just so many red flags. One of the guys that I actually respect that he's waiting to play Leavitt. He has a theory that Martinez is a fake black belt. I went and saw his one fight that he got submitted. Luke Flores. Luke Flores is a bum. He got submitted by Favola on Contender Series, and then in his return, he also got submitted by Jordan Leavitt. So yeah, that guy's not the greatest, and he armbarred from guard Victor Martinez, right? Martinez got out of it 2-3 times, and the second time he looked like he was about to tap, and then the third time, like, why are you still doing it in his guard, man? The third time, Flores threw it up, and he tapped. It looked like he tapped a bit early. But that was in 2015, right? He's a black belt now, so he could have potentially been a white belt. Probably not a white belt, because he's not the prodigy. Maybe a blue belt. So he could have gotten better, but it's just I didn't like that early tap and whatnot. So yeah, it's a pass fight for me at the moment. Potentially, Jordan Leavitt submission round 1, submission round 2. Look to live bet Martinez how he looks after a layoff, almost 2 years. But yeah, it's just both these guys. Martinez could look like, I think both these guys could look like a massive favorite with the weaknesses and the strengths. They complement each other's weaknesses and strengths. So yeah, at the moment it's a pass. A little bit more money coming in on Martinez, but it was flip-flopping recently. UFC betting experience, Victor Live or rounds 2 and 3. Yep, I agree 100%. Pepe, Twerk, Parlay, Ailin, Perez, and Jordan Leavitt. You can't go wrong, mate. But they both disgust me personally, so I might have to pass. Leavitt is young and improving more than Martinez with the wrestling and grappling. Yeah, you can say that. I mean, Leavitt, when you look at Leavitt's losses, he's getting out-grappled himself, and he's against more physical guys. Paddy dominated him. Puelles dominated after losing round 1. I just think Leavitt wins round 1 at a pretty high clip. So at that point, I'd rather just live bet it, if he's going to slow down. Alrighty. Let's move on. Okay. Gabriella, Fernandes, Jasmine, Jasudavicius. Well, that's beautiful. I wonder why Jasmine hasn't made her nickname the Vicious. Jasmine Vicious, Jasudavicius. It doesn't really roll off the tongue. Anyway, yeah. So I full disclosure, I locked in a little bit of Gabriella Fernandes early play. Some of the people I respect in the Discord told me to do it. By the way, I will open up a Discord with myself and all the Big Brain Discord and all the people that I really respect in there. No people that I hate. No jobbers. No people I don't respect. And we'll just talk about fights in there, and I'll give all my bets. But yeah, at some point. I won't do it now, but I'm thinking of doing it. It'll be cheap. It'll be like, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks, something. But yeah, I'll do that in the future. I think Discord is more important than just subscribing to someone's picks. It's better to just chat about fights and have multiple people talking about things in there. But yeah, anyway, back to this. Yeah, they told me to play Gabriella Fernandes, so I played it at Pick'em. Obviously, a lot of money's come in. And I taped it, and the first thing that stuck out to Gabriella Fernandes is that she's not hard to take down, and she's kind of a little bit lackadaisical on the ground. And I was like, okay. I mean, we know Jasmine is going to shoot for takedowns ASAP. So that was a bit of a concern. So I looked more into a career. And yeah, you know, the even the LFA career is the same. It's that Edna Oliveira girl, the second last fight. She's 10-9. She's an absolute midget. She was lining her up, and then the midget went for a low single, and Gabriella Fernandes kind of tried to get the back and fell off, and it was very sloppy. And I hate to see that. I hate to see that from someone that's meant to be stuffing takedowns. I don't want to see that. I don't want you engaging, grappling, and falling off and ending up on the bottom. And then she spent 2 minutes on her back against this chick, who's horrible. And eventually, the girl, you know, she was attacking the legs, and the girl ended up disengaging. And then Fernandes got up and just lit her up and finished her, which, you know, that's what you want to see. If you spend some time on your back, you want to get up and you want to pour her on so the judges can forget about that and they can see all the damage that you're doing and win rounds. That was a good sign. But yeah, then Carolina Martins in the next one, you know, just lit her up again and submitted with a guillotine choke. So, look, she's got really good striking. She's a southpaw, good distance management, good footwork. She's in and out, great body kick. She seems to be athletic. It's finally someone that's Jasmine's size, right? I mean, Jasmine's just fighting a bunch of strawweights, right? Reed on the regionals, Palastri, Kay Hansen, right? And Natalia Silva was small. You know, a lot of people trying to fade Silva because she's usually a small strawweight, and then she came in a lot more physical, filled into her body. But that's, you know, not the biggest girl. But yeah, that's a rough one. Natalia Silva has amazing takedown defense. But yeah, she's finally finding someone her size and that can match the reach. And, you know, Fernandes is going to stay on the outside and fight long, which is good, right? It's what you want to see. It's just, you know, the what I saw on tape, it just kind of makes me a little bit nervous. I guess it's Pick'em, so she's not a massive favorite. You know, I got a 50-50. There's a 50% chance, you know, Jasmine implements her grappling. There's a 50% chance Gabriella wins via the striking. So I have to think about it some more. But then, you know, I found some more fights. By the way, I'm calling Tape Index out again. What's the point of me paying for Tape Index when I can find my fights better just with a simple Google search, right? How annoying is that? I already hit up the guy. Someone talk to Tape Index, please. The product has gone off a cliff. So I found a fight with Jasmine Lucindo, who's in the UFC. She's an absolute beast. But that was in 2018, so Lucindo was, like 17 years old. She showed a bit of takedown defense there. And eventually went for something stupid again, and Lucinda took her down. And then she locked in a triangle choke, which is impressive, I guess. She lost to Maria Silva, who most likely grappled her to a decision. And yeah. I mean, what is there to say? I feel like Jasmine will wrestle. She always does it. Fernandes will stay on the outside. It's just, if you want to look at it in a blanket term, I feel like Jasmine most likely wins round 1. I feel like Fernandes most likely wins round 3 because Jasmine is very plotty, very hittable, slows down bad, and she's probably going to get lit up. Hopefully, she gets lit up in 2 and 3. But the thing that I'm thinking about, there's a chance that Fernandes can also win round 1. She can also stop the takedowns against Jasmine. So, yeah, I've got an early line on Fernandes. If I do keep it, you know, because the line is moving in such a big direction, it's probably just going to be a unit. Just because, yeah, I can't ignore what I saw with tape. You know, maybe I'll listen to some interviews, see what Fernandes says. You know, I'm going to do my best to stop the takedowns or some crap like that. But yeah, we'll see. At the moment, I'm on Fernandes at Pick'em. The only reason I am going to keep it is just because, you know, I've got a better line. Alrighty, absolute barn burner. Erick, Gonzalez, Trevor Peak. So, yeah, I'll try to keep this one short. They're both brawlers. Erick Gonzalez is a bum. He got brought in to essentially give Jim Miller his a win in the UFC. He got sparked. He's hittable. His hands are low. He can be taken down. He's gassy. He might be a little bit chinny, not the best defense. He's just very sloppy, and he's fought nobody. He's lost to Humberto Bandonai, and Combate. He got ragdolled for 3 rounds by Rafa Garcia, who's decent. And, Spark with 1 punch against Jim Miller, which, that left hand of Jim Miller is solid. I mentioned it last week when I was breaking down him Fernandes. But, yeah, he's got hurt multiple times and then got put out with cold. To be put out cold, it's just a whole nother situation, right? So he's definitely chinny. I guess he can crack. He cracked McKinney. Cracked him clean, but McKinney didn't even get dropped. So maybe he's got some power. I don't know. I've seen him hurt a lot. And Trevor Peek, I hit Trevor Peek as a dog on Contender Series. It was a little bit sweaty, but essentially what I put it down to is Peek is insanely durable. He will fight for your money. He can be taken down. He's given up positions a lot in regionals, mount, back control. And the guy is so insanely strong. He just powers out of everything. He's just he fights like he's on bath salt. He's indestructible. And then the guy that he fought on Contender, Malik, he was so much bigger. He's finished everyone. He hits like a truck. And yeah, he got hit bad. And the stuff that he ate after that, clean knees, clean elbows, and just survived, man. Just weathered the storm and just broke him. So this guy breaks people. He's got his weaknesses. And he's got decent wrestling too. Karma Worthy, his wrestling. He was ragdolling him on Aries before UFC. He was ragdolling him before he eventually finished him with punches. So yeah, essentially I favor Peek because he's going to fight for your money. He's got better durability. He's got more power. Hits like a truck. I think his cardio is better. Yeah, it's just a minus 200. It's a bit of a low-level fight. I don't know if I want to play the money line. I guess, I can understand people playing Erick Gonzalez because, he will brawl there and Peek is hittable. But yeah, I think ultimately Peek is more made for a brawling fight and Gonzalez is going to get folded at some point. If anything, I'll look at the under 1.5. Again, I don't understand why my one bookie hasn't opened that up this week. Very annoying. And yeah, so it's probably going to be steamed again. Other than that, I might play some Peek round 1, round 2, maybe round 2, round 3. I don't know. Oh, but Peek's just by finish. I think Peek's never been to a decision other than his amateurs. So the guy carries power late. He's got round 4 KOs on his amateur title fights. So yeah, Peek for me. I wouldn't really play it. The money line. I'm just gonna look at some unders and Peek KO. Pepe Silvia, what is the under 1.5 paying for you currently, mate? If you could help me out, that would be great. Just out of curiosity. This was one of the fights I taped to see if I'm putting my 1.5 record on the line. Alrighty. Mike Malott, Yohan, Lainesse. This fight right here, I mean, I just played Yohan. I thought it was a no-brainer. I think Mike Malott is very good. You can tell that he's very good. He might be the more skilled fighter here. I think his jiu-jitsu is no joke. I think he's very opportunistic. He jumps on guillotines, when he jumps on guillotines, when he jumps on the back, he instantly locks stuff in. And that's just a sign of a high-level jiu-jitsu guy. His technique is impeccable. Yeah, he's just a very good fighter. And even his boxing, good counters, good strikes. My only problem here is his hittability. His defense is trash. And potentially his cardio too. Right? I wanted to fade him against Mickey Gall. The only thing that stopped me there is just because it's Mickey Gall. And, you don't want to fight. You don't want to fade fighters with crappy fighters sometimes. But yeah, I've taped his career multiple times. He got knocked out by Hakeem Dawodu back in 2014. He was a young kid back at featherweight. But yeah, Dawood doesn't really have much power. And then Thomas Diagni in his Bellator fight that went to a draw. That guy's a 5-4 bum. Again, it was 2015. He was a young kid, but back then his cardio didn't hold up and his chin didn't hold up. He got 10-8 in round 3 by that Diagni guy who's not good. And you fast forward to the Solomon Renfro fight, gets dropped instantly. Then he drops him back and rear naked chokes him. Gets taken down by, Smitrovsky on Contender Series and then, locks in the beautiful guillotine choke. And then he's getting busted up. He's getting bloodied up by Mickey Gall of all people, right? So he's His defense is not great. He's looking to counter all the time. He does have good counters, but he's eating a lot of shots, right? And Yohan hits like a truck, dude. Yohan hits like a truck. I went to Yohan a bunch of times, right? I lost money playing Burlington against him, and then ever since, I played him against Gabe Green and then I live bet Gabe Green, which gave me profit either way. But I mean, he won round one easy. He dropped Gabe Green with a big overhand in the second, and then he got folded. That's an awful matchup. Gabe Green, constant pressure, durability, crazy cardio. Yeah, like Lainesse slows down. It's an awful matchup for him. And then Darian Weeks, I went back on and played him there again as a dog, and it was a lot more sweaty than it should have been. I think if he just stepped on the gas a little bit, he could have won a unanimous over Weeks. But yeah, Weeks was someone that was not going to push him. And he's got power. He's a lot more athletic. Yeah, he's just that shot that he landed on Gabe Green. Like Mike Malott's not eating that, man. No way in hell. And even then, even though I'm making assumptions about his cardio, he's never been out of round one, right? He looked like he was kind of slowing down against Mickey Gall. Like historically, you can just trust these guys that have all finishes in the first round, and they don't fight often. He barely fights. They're not going to have good cardio, man. If Yohan just comes out and cracks him a couple of times, he can get takedowns. Yohan put his head in the guillotine against Burlington, and he defended it well. Again, I'm not saying he'll get out of it against Malott, but he can get takedowns. He's a good grappler. He had Gabe Green's back. He does slow down, but he's fought through it. I've seen him, win decisions. I've seen him get explosive takedowns in round 3 on CFFFC. So I'm just going back to the well here again. Like I said, Malott's probably the more technical overround, better fighter. With the boxing and the jiu-jitsu. But yeah, this line is quite insane on someone that has such bad defense, and Yohan hitting like an absolute truck. And then if this gets out of round 1, the cardio could just even out. So yeah, it's a no-brainer. I just played. At the moment, I have a unit. I'm probably going to reduce, but I have a unit on Yohan. But it felt like an easy bet to make, and I'm going to look at some unders as well. I feel like, this should not go over decision, right? I mean, Yohan's a bit durable, so we'll see. He got folded with a body shot against Gabe Green. I've never really seen him too hurt to the head. And yeah, if Malott gets tired and he's just looking to counter, this could go over. So I'll have to see if I want to play the unders. They're probably juiced. But yeah, I've got some money on Yohan, Lainesse. If anything, I'll play the under 1.5 instead of playing the juice on that doesn't go. Max bet doesn't go. 1,000 to win 400. Yeah, I don't know about that, Rob Lawrence. $1.40. We'll see. Gugabe, yep. Great input, like always. 2 Canadians, yep. So yeah. Yohan for me. All right, Tatiana Suarez, Montana De La Rosa. As I said, I was going to mention 2 fights that I didn't tape. This was one of them. Tatiana unplayable. She probably wins. Montana De La Rosa, she can be taken down. She's a little bit hittable, a little bit plotting. There's a big athleticism disadvantage here for her. And yeah, Tatiana's good. If anything, when I do tape this fight, it will be to see whether it goes over or it goes under. Right? Suarez, finishing Esparza, very impressive. Very good submission game. She's a beast. Ground and pound and submissions. But it's just after such a long layoff, she might not be as aggressive. She might not be as good. Some of her prime is gone. She's 32 now. She might just want to win in there. And De La Rosa, despite being a little bit hittable, maybe she can survive. So yeah, nothing at the moment. I'll just look into it to see whether I like the over-unders. Sakai, Dontel Mays, this was the second one. I essentially started taping it. I was going to leave it. Someone, Scrap had some plays on it. So I was like, there might be some plays. Let's look into it. I just taped 1 or 2 fights. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't tape this fight. Not with Bellator. Not with 18 fights on Bellator and PFL and KSW. I just can't go sit through and watch Augusto Sakai's plotting performances and Dontel Mays switching stances like Dominic Cruz and just doing the bare minimum. I just can't do it. So yeah, pass at the moment. Money's coming in on Sakai. I get it. He should be the better fighter. It should be a levels fight, but I just think Sakai maybe never should have been ranked in the first place. And now he's been knocked out 4 times in a row. I've been burned before. betting fighters that are better but been knocked out 4 times in a row. I used to think Sakar was very durable. I mean, maybe he is, but we'll see. Alrighty. Andre Muniz, Brendan Allen. I'll take this one deep. This was an interesting one. I don't want to talk about it as much as I have notes here because it's going to take too long. But essentially, it comes down to these guys are polar opposites in the grappling department. Muniz is submission over position. He's a lot more physical. He's patient. He looks for a reactive double, and he's a massive guy, a massive reach. He's got a lot of intangibles over Allen, and it just looks to stay on top, sit in the guard, consolidate position, get to the back, and just stay there. Meanwhile, Allen is just all systems go. Not much concern for his defense. Not much concern for takedown defense. Jumping for guillotines. Just constant scrambles. Gives up his back. Gave his back to Dorcas. Gave his back to Kevin Holland. Massive red flag if that happens here against Andre Muniz. Constantly getting taken down by Malkoun. Still going for those guillotines. You shouldn't be going for him, and he can't help it. So complete opposite these two. On the other hand, Allen has a lot better striking. He's a lot more active. He's a lot more gritty. When he gets on top, which is it's a strong possibility. Muniz can get his back and Allen can get on top, right? Uriah Hall did it 2-3 times, right? He stayed safe and then got on top and he was throwing ground and pound. Allen throws a lot of ground and pound. He's stolen rounds before against Dorcas. When he gets on top, Allen is a dog. He's stolen rounds against Malkoun with more ground and pound. It's a strong possibility here that could happen. Just being more gritty. Muniz seems to have cardio issues, probably because he's so big. Allen will fight for your money, despite his flaws. He'll fight strong rounds 2 and 3. He's going to throw a lot more output. He has power on the feet as well. He's dropped Alves. He's dropped Jeffrey, who's in Bellator now. He's a decent fighter. He's got underrated power, man. He's dropped Dorcas multiple times. If it's on the feet, Muniz has been dropped and KO'd a few times. The thing with Muniz is I'm not sure if he's making improvements. Like if you watch his Brazil Contender Series fight, he's having a back and forth with Bruno Assis, who's a good grappler. Bruno Assis gets clinched up and then he judo throws him multiple times. The same thing that Allen has done to Malkoun. And if he does that and gets on top, he won a 29-28 there, but he was on his back a lot of the time. And then you see in his UFC debut, he's on bottom guard against Arroyo, like an awful guard that's been cut since. And Arroyo is fine, surviving in the guard and staying on top. I was really surprised that every time I watched that fight, like how's that 30-27? I guess Arroyo didn't really do much with the top time other than the defense submissions. But if Brendan Allen gets on top and Muniz is tired, he's just going to throw a ground and pound. He's going to pass. He might get Muniz's back. I just think, Allen has the cardio. He has the striking. He has the power. He has the grit. He'll fight for your money. Whereas Muniz just has everything that Allen is bad at. He's probably going to take him down. He's going to consolidate position. He's going to stay in the guard. But if Allen gets up or if he gives his back and doesn't get submitted and he ends up on top throwing ground and pound, I think Muniz can absolutely gas out. And it's just, it's I can't hit it. I haven't hit Muniz yet because I don't know if he's made those improvements. But he's fought nobody. If he beats Brendan Allen, that's the best opponent he's fought in the UFC, hands down. Uriah Hall on his way out, retiring. Erick Anders, Jacare Souza retiring. Submitting him is impressive. That armbar is insane. He can definitely submit Allen here as well. That could be a cheeky stab. When he gets that armbar, it's not about tapping or not tapping. It's breaking, right? He puts it's in so deep that he just puts all his body weight on it. So you can't just be tough or good at jiu-jitsu and tough it out. That's going to break. So, it's a dog or pass for me here. I just haven't pulled the trigger on Allen. Money's coming in on Muniz. It might be just like a better live bet fight. See how Brendan Allen comes. Maybe he gets taken down. Maybe he starts to slow down. Maybe it's like a really close round 1. But you're like, surely from here on out, Allen is going to win a split. So, easy dog or pass for me. But, Allen can do it, man. Allen can do it. It's just he can do it with his little crappy way of fighting. It's just going to be a little bit sweaty because I don't think he's going to stop the takedowns early at least. Let's address some comments. I'm going to drink my warm water. Yohan plus 180 straight is worth a sprinkle, Herb Dean. Of course, mate. I already played it. It's a no-brainer. A guy with no defense like Malott fighting someone like Yohan, like how can you not have a sprinkle? What else? Muniz versus Ailin over 2.5. Good odds. I don't know what they are, mate. So you're gonna have to tell me. It's a bit. I wouldn't bet it just because it's a bit. Muniz's cardio, chin issues. Brendan Allen. By the way, Brendan Allen has an amazing back take. One of the best rear naked chokes in the UFC. Maybe you can get it here. Who knows? Pepe Silvia. I like the over 1.5 in the Maya Sakai. What is that playing, mate? I would love to hammer that too, but who knows? How do I get in the Discord? I'll tell you when I make it, mate. I haven't made it yet. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the right time. I'm waiting for people to express their interest. The Jacob fight makes Ailin not look that good for me. Man, Jacob Malkoon's a beast. Amazing wrestling. So Jacob Malkoon versus Andre Muniz. I'll play him as a dog. AU Thor, half unit Ailin and over 1.5. That could be good. I'm still waiting. The money's still coming in on Muniz, so let's move on. Got to be out of here in 10 minutes. Luckily, it is the main event. Alrighty. Nikita Krylov, Ryan Spann. Decent fight. Take this first on Sunday. Like I said, I was expecting some early over-under lines, and I was like, this could be, depending on the line here, this could be the fight that's, I'm putting my under 1.5 record on the line, only for a good line, right? Only for something with value. I capped it at 60, maybe 65%. I don't have lines again, so maybe someone can help me out what the under 1.5 here is. What it comes down to is Krylov. I think Krylov's top 5 now, top 6. Out of all the top 5 guys, potential top 5 guys, I think Spann has the best chance to beat Krylov. Krylov, he's just not defensively responsible. He gets hit a lot. He does have a good chin. He puts his neck in submissions. Been submitted multiple times. He put himself in 2 submission attempts against 2 guillotine attempts against Glover. I don't think Glover's guillotine is one of his best moves, but it was still too close for comfort. It literally is Ryan Spann's best move. I think he can guillotine a lot of people. Spann's a flake. I love fading him. I'll be honest. Most of these 1.5s that I've hit, it was pick him against Reyes. It was, I think, pick him against Kutalaba as well. I've hit a lot of these guys under 1.5s. I don't know why the bookies are giving us pick him here. They seem to be really underestimating Spann. I'll be honest, most of those unders that I've hit is because of fading Spann, because he's chinny, he's flaky. Once he gets hit, he just goes into berserker mode. He overextends. He's been countered a lot. Krylov can probably counter him. He has a good checkbook. If this goes over, I favor Krylov as well. It's just I don't want to play a pre-bet. Like I said, if Spann can beat anyone in the top 5, it's Krylov, a guy that has lapses in judgment and he's sometimes way too aggressive for his own good. Puts his head in guillotines, can be hit. Spann has so much power, he can hit anyone. He's not the most technical guy, but what Spann has is he commits hard to a 1-2. He throws down, and once he's hurt you, he's just, he's in there. He makes him dangerous. He's not playing it safe. Is the true definition of kill or be killed, right? And I had the good line on Krylov before I taped. I had $1.66, right, which I see some people are tracking now, and it's been steamed since. And after tape, I cashed it out. I said to myself, I capped Krylov at 60%. The overall better fighter, but there's no value on that line for me. Overall better fighter. If he gets out of round 1, he's probably going to cruise. He's gritty. He can get the takedowns. I cap him at that, but his IQ and Spann he's going to bring it out there, man. He's going to bring it to him. I'll rather just live bet Krylov. Maybe I won't get that live bet opportunity just because, maybe Krylov wins round 1 and Spann's gassing. Completely possible. But also now Spann apparently is training full time, which he hasn't been, which just blows my mind. How can you be having 5 or 6 fights in the UFC and you haven't been training full time up until now? I've seen Krylov hurt by Volkan. I don't think Volkan hits nowhere near as Ryan Spann. And then what's Krylov going to do when he gets hurt? He goes for takedowns. It could be a no-brainer here. What I've written down here, some potential plays. Could be some scrambling early. I wrote Krylov sub, maybe Krylov sub round 2. I I don't think he's going to knock out Spann. If just because Krylov loves to grapple a lot, he could knock out a chinny Walker, and he's had a lot of top time. He's more of a grinder than anything. But if he does finish you, it'll be a rear naked choke. Like he had a rear naked choke deep on Glover, which is amazing. He almost got him. He had a deep rear naked choke on Volkan. He eventually broke down OSP in the rematch and rear naked choked him in round 2. That was just under 1.5 rounds. So yeah, if anything, if he's going to grapple Spann, Spann is good early. He got dropped by Smith, and then he reversed Smith while hurt and got on top. He had a back and forth against Henrique, who's the world champion in Jiu-Jitsu. He has good sweeps, and he's good on the ground early. Devin Clark took him down multiple times. He got up straight away. Kutalaba took him down. He controlled the wrists, got up every single time. So I just think early this is going to be sweaty. If Krylov strikes, it's going to be sweaty. If he goes to grapple and he avoids the guillotine, it's going to be sweaty. I think Spann's going to reverse him, get on top. So yeah, just a shit show. It's a pass fight for me. I see Baby Yoda said the under is $1.76. I'll definitely hit that. But I don't know what I'm going to get. My Aussie bookies are lagging. Other than that, I'll play fight ends in submission, depending how good it is. I think Krylov, if he survives and doesn't submit him early, he's got 5 rounds. He's going to grapple for 5 rounds. I feel like he can potentially break Ryan Spann down early and get a rear naked choke then, or Ryan Spann gets a guillotine. So hopefully fight ends in submission is plus money. I'll probably hit that too. Small. But other than that, yeah, there's obviously a risk of Ryan Spann knocking him out. But yeah, I think maybe he'll drop him and then Krylov will jump in for a takedown. He's got a good chin. So yeah, fight ends in sub, maybe the under 1.5, and look to lie back Krylov. But yeah, that's it. I'll address some of the comments and then go through my best bets, and I'm out of here. Ryan Spann money line. I believe he will put his shit together mentally wise, especially since he's ranked in the top 10. Maybe, mate. You have to take some of the stuff he said with credence. That he is training now. We'll see. Gugabe, Spann round 1 and late Krylov permutations. Only getting a few matches on exchange. A bit like my Tinder profile. It is what it is, mate. You got to put a fake photo on Tinder. Tinder's it's a rough go. But yeah, it can't go wrong. I mean, Ryan Spann round 1. I don't understand. The bookies are not catching on. I think it was like $8.50 last time. I think because they were respecting Reyes. You can't go wrong with Ryan Spann round 1. Like under 1.5 has been cashing, but like 90% of the time it's cashing in round 1. So just for the value itself, you have to hit it. AU Thor main event fight starts round 2 $1.60. Fight doesn't start round 3 $1.50. I don't know. That's risky, man. I don't want to play starts round 2 at juice personally myself. So alrighty, that's the end of that. Like and subscribe if you haven't. I'm putting a lot of content out for you, a lot of free bets, a lot of work for this. I've put a lot of pressure on myself to make some money at the end of February. It's been an average February, but we'll do it. Let's quickly go through everything. See if I have any best bets for you today, which might be hard. So I got Jose Johnson, not overly confident. I got Perez, half a unit. Oda Osbourne, just because the line is going to move and you can pivot out in live betting. Fernandes, Yohan, kind of like that. Yeah, man. All right, I'll give you. I'm not overly confident in stuff that I have at the moment, all right, just because I moved on to Bellator. So by final bets, I have a better read. I don't even have props, which is embarrassing. So at the moment, Yohan is my favorite play, 100%. That's the first money line where I taped it, didn't even finish it, and I locked in a bet. I think it would look like good value there. So Yohan Lainesse, and my second play, it's going to have to be Perez. Ailin Perez at $2.30. Obviously, hard to cap it now. It's close to pick him now, but yeah. Yohan at plus 190 or $2.90, and Perez at 230 plus 130. So yeah, those are my bets. My favorite bets from what I have so far. You will get a lot. You might get 2 different bets on when it comes down to final bets, when I've actually got some props and whatnot. But yeah, thanks for listening. I will be making an appearance on a couple of podcasts this week. I don't want to spoil it because they haven't said anything. Like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, keep an eye out for some KSW podcasts. Good luck with your bets.